Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink.
Clink and drink.
This is actually really good wine.
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness. We'll talk about it in just a sec. Sorry, I want to do that one. Lola loves wine. So, before we get started with our show and introduce our guest, I do have a disclaimer I like to go over. This show is called Witches and Wine, meaning that we do partake in wine. And sometimes we get a little blah, 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 with the wine and maybe a little tipsy. And it has come to our attention that some people don't want to learn witchcraft or learn about these things from people who are wasted and drunk. And so you have the ability to just click the X in the corner of the screen and not watch us.
You got magic. You got power.
It works. So
you can cast a spell and just boom.
Yeah, intent, my friends. So there you go. All right. So I'm going to turn this over to my partner in crime, my high priest,
Who are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm Lola Stardust. I didn't introduce myself, did I? Oh, hi, I'm Lola Stardust, the hostess with the mostest. All right, I'm going to turn this over to my husband. He's going to introduce the wine that we're drinking tonight. Why don't you show us the bottle, honey?
I'd be happy to. So tonight, I have chosen this red from Bulgaria. It's called Bulgariana. It is a red blend, 50% Cabernet, 50% Syrah. It is from the Thracian Valley, which is the oldest wine region in the world where wine production is still being done to this day, and it has the oldest known wine press at it. This wine's going to run you $20 to $25 a bottle. It's definitely on the dry, earthy side. Nice, really nice dark fruits, wonderful tannins. This is a 2012 vintage, so it's got some age, so it's definitely softened up a little bit. Like I said, excellent wine, one of the oldest wine regions in the world. So you guys understand why I chose this once we introduce our guest.
Well, thank you, honey.
My pleasure.
Now you got to get out of here.
So have a good one, guys.
All right. Come on in. Oh, move the dog. Go, Nene. Go, Nene. There we go. Have a seat, Rooster. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. I love the fro. I love this guy. All right. So I want to introduce our friend and our guest. We met this amazing, interesting human being. We were just saying 2017, around that time. Yeah. We went to a local group, little get-together thing with pagans, and my husband and I, it was at a coffee place, and we went into the conference room or whatever, and we saw this very intriguing looking man. Looked like, maybe to others might look a little intimidating, look like, oh, you know what? He's like, worships the devil, that kind of shit. And me and Silenus were like, we must get to know you. So, Rooster, welcome to our show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the reason why I wanted to talk to you is because Rooster and I have had many, many conversations about many things. We were just talking in the backyard with my husband about so many interesting theories you have. But I want to talk about real quick. I don't know if it's real quick because I want to talk about, what would you call yourself? I know you're not into labels and stuff like that, but what would be the easiest way? Because I called you an occultist.
Yeah.
Do you think that's pretty accurate?
That's okay. If there's going to be a label placed to me, I think that the practice of hidden knowledge is probably it.
The practitioner of hidden knowledge, or
both?
Practitioner of hidden knowledge. So very much, occult means hidden, so it makes sense. So we have talked about so many different things. So I want to talk about, you had mentioned, this guy, his book collection is amazing. First of all, there's so many great books, and we will bring up conversations or topics and you're like, oh, I read a book on this, or so the seeker of knowledge, the seeker of what is hidden. Is there a goal, or is it just a hobby? Is it like a passion? Why is this so important to you to know all these things?
I think from a very young age, I've been really rebellious. I grew up on not such the greatest times. And I'm just going to mention that really fast because it does play into a lot of how I grew stronger and grew out of it.
Yeah.
So one of the main things is just growing up generally in a drug house,
Yeah.
which kind of it's got its own kind of motion to it, and it really just you're seeing too much life too fast.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's yeah.
And me trying to stay good and wholesome and to the things that I like, I ended up really being alienated from the people who were into the danger.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had to still be plunged into that
Yeah.
and learn my own evolution out of it.
Yeah.
It was just not a very nice time in life, but you can grow out of things and you can grow stronger from situations.
Oh yeah.
And you can have takeaways from just about anything, even the most dire of situations.
I feel like, honey, are you watching the chat? Thank you, honey. I feel so. I'm going to go back over here. I feel like we were just talking about that. That you have to, when you think of because I have a past drug history, and there were some dark times. I mean, living in places, being around people, drugs bring out, I think, a lot of people's true identity.
Yes.
No matter what the drug is. And I was surrounded by so many people that they just looked morphed and evil, and so I think of my drug past as kind of a living hell.
Yeah.
So when you're so young being exposed to that, do you kind of feel like, well, I've been to hell, and
Yes.
what more can you, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Even outside of any sort of occultism or any sort of witchcraft or anything, I think that's just in a general human civilization sort of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you're going to experience things that are going to change you.
Yep.
And I like to say that even I'm not perfect, and my logic is not perfect.
Yeah.
To any stretch, but I want to make sure that I'm coming to the base level of anything. So one of the base levels that I see, to digress, is pain. So a lot of people who are on drugs, my sister right now is not going to last 6 months.
Oh.
My mom died November 1st of 2021 from a fentanyl overdose.
Oh gosh.
So that tells you how close to my life this actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember a moment from my childhood when my mom wasn't on the floor.
Oh, geez.
So,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's just but I understand my mom, though. Even though she hurt me, even though she hurt her family, she was in pain.
Yeah.
She had her first child at 13.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So really, I mean, you're taken away from your roots, because I didn't want to be like them or anything.
Yeah.
So I just started rebelling in any way possible.
Yeah.
So of course, you're in a family where they like gangs and drugs, and they like prostitution, and they like these things, and I'm still a good student in school, coming home, and nobody there knows.
So that was your rebelling?
Yeah.
You went the opposite way.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. So from that is kind of what has driven you to look at, because when you talk a lot about the push and pull of things,
yes,
the opposites, the for this there's this, for this there's this. So is that kind of from where you came from, and what has kind of driven you to look into all these different theories and what those play out? Yeah.
Even scientifically, I'm a statistical, and it's not that I'm special. I don't feel special. I actually feel burdened a bit. I end up falling into a 1% on a lot of things. So it's not a good lonely.
Yeah.
So it ends up being strange when I have to. A person in my position would normally have killed people, would normally be in prison.
Yeah.
I ended up climbing up through jobs and
being a productive citizen.
But I do understand that because of the other side of that life, that being a productive citizen is fake. And I'm serious when I say that I look out onto what people say is this real thing, and it doesn't feel and it's not. I'm fully cognizant. I know the date. I'm not.
You're not like
I mean, and I've been. It is. This struggle is not real, and it's. I didn't mean to say it like that because people will be like, the struggle is
The struggle is real,
but I'm gonna break the matrix and be the adversary that I am, and just say that the struggle's not real.
Is it? I like that you brought up the Matrix, because I compare the movie The Matrix to everything that we do in magic and how we see things, and so it's kind of looking behind the curtain when nobody wants to look behind the curtain. And I think that's a really good way of describing how you are.
They're scared.
You're always looking behind the curtain.
Yeah, they're scared. I think a lot of people are scared of that pain.
Yeah.
Because, like we were talking about earlier, they see what going over to the other side brings, and they don't want it. They don't want any part of that. They don't want any part of that darkness that they see. So they're going to stay on the other side. But staying on the other side includes all of the slaveries that are involved too.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with those.
Yeah.
People who are smarter than us, who are richer than us, people who definitely have a foothold over large swaths of people are okay with them hurting themselves and killing themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel a separation from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan that's wearing jeans and a hat.
Yeah.
I walk into a crowd of people, and I'm okay with there being a hive mind. I'm okay with them all moving in conjunction. That's all fine. But I have no way to explain that it makes me sad.
Okay, so this brings me to, this is a great segue. So we see in the pagan community here in Spokane, we see Rooster show up to a lot of our pagan events. And I think I remember asking you or talking to you about, I think it's, you don't identify as pagan or a witch, but you love us witches.
Yeah, we can get along.
Yeah, exactly. So when you go to things, you are kind of on the outside, looking in. Okay. Is that just you observing, maybe because we're going to get to why I'm asking this, borrowing. I don't know that, do you know what I'm saying though? So is that what that is? Is just like how
I'm going to give a disclaimer that I'm going to say very inflammatory things in there because I like to affirm my position.
Please say inflammatory things.
I believe in appropriation completely. Because if you believe that you're a soul and you're just describing to cultural norms, I think that is damaging to you to limit yourself to this petty flesh. And that, even for some of you, like I'll even come to your level. I'm very clearly a brown guy. I've experienced discrimination in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't blame those people because even their God told them that they don't know what they're doing. So if that's the case, then I believe that too.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna gird my words with that. So to come back to your question, I think with just kind of removing hubris and coming to that base level, we're all doing that. We're doing that right now.
Yeah.
We're gaining an experience right now.
Thank you.
We've never sat down and done this.
Yeah.
So we're learning a thing.
Yeah.
We're going to grow from this thing.
And this is the first time, like we've talked online a lot.
Yeah.
But sitting right here and talking, I was just even thinking, I'm like, hey, this, and that's kind of the purpose of the show, is like being a fly on the wall with friends, drinking wine and talking about this shit.
Well, we're adding to something.
Yeah.
The internet is an entity. It's a growing entity. And
Yeah.
I'm literally adding time to it with my weird ass face on it. So, so to answer your question, it has to be yes.
Yeah.
The answer has to be yes.
So first of all, everyone, I don't know if you noticed how good I look. I was at a photo shoot earlier. But I told Rooster when he walked in that I got all dolled up for him. Oh, I just gave it away. I still did get dolled up for you. All right. Anyway,
I'm gonna blush.
I like making Rooster blush. Woo! I do such a good job. So what that brings me to is you and I have had talks about you wanting to start your own religion. Or belief system. What would you call it? And tell me about that.
I want to start the truth. I kind of have a personal pride in my ego that tells me to follow what I say. So I'm going to say that one of the things that I have is kind of one of my tenets is I shall speak the truth or I will remain silent.
And then that truth, even if it offends, even if it hurts someone,
because I know it's going to hurt you, but like it's how I'm hurting you. It's kind of like the idea of your dad swatting your hand and saying, I do it because I love you.
Yeah.
Not the father
that just
beating you with a belt in the back of your head and your legs and your back on the ground.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to actually taste that. That's your.
So you're a true believer in when people say, now tell me the truth. And you're like,
well, you're already gonna. You don't even have to.
You don't even have to say that you're gonna get it. Yeah.
And so you can tell me the truth, and I'm open to criticism, and I can be wrong because all I'm gonna do is take your idea and then go be correct with it.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah. So you just learn something new. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you want to? I mean, that's what we're talking about. Is so the truth. So this religion or whatever. So Rooster's 33, and he told me I've been working on this for 33 years. And I was like, how old are you? 33. I was like, okay, this makes sense. So can you tell me a little bit more about what this is? And is that kind of why you do attend and see how some of us witches do ritual and what other places have you attended? Like because I'll only see what pagan stuff.
Yeah. So I'm a busy boy. So I have been, I'm going to say this too. I go to all these things solo a lot of the time, and like you won't see anybody with me unless you know me, and I've been there a lot, and I usually go alone. So I've been to mosques, I've been to Hindu temples, and I've practiced with them openly and full in, because I'm not going to go and just to a place and not know what it is. That's stupid.
Exactly.
So like I knew a bit about Wicca before I came there. I knew a bit about Hinduism before I went to the temple there. I knew how to do pujas already. I knew how to do mantras already. I'd been practicing yoga, so I felt comfortable going just by myself, especially with the sect that they're Ganesha worshippers, and they follow that kind of vein.
Yeah,
that's for strength and prosperity, and to me, it's a gate.
Yeah.
Well, then I started reading, and they're like, most of the reason why they have a Ganesha on most puja altars is because that's the gate. Oh, okay. And so I was able to correlate the ideas. Yeah. Well, what I started to notice is that most religions, and if you're not a wuss or a puss or whatever, go. Like go. Don't you be yourself and just go. And me, I abuse myself with research. So really, I just abused myself with going. Yeah. Because I said, I can go in here and get my ass kicked. Yeah. Somebody could see a picture of me in another spot where I have, it's called kumkum on my forehead. Yeah. I've worn that openly. Yeah. I actually, when I practice these religions, I don't feel heretical at all, especially from what I said earlier. I don't care if I'm going to offend that way. Yeah. So I've gone out in a full turban out in the public. Yeah. And I've done it for a long time. I don't know if anybody can see. I'm not dressed conventionally right now. Yeah, every time I see you at a pagan gathering, you remind me of very monk-like. Thank you. Yeah, because I see you walking barefoot in the grass, and I see you, and you'll observe, but that's what. One time you walked into a gathering, I can't remember what it was, and someone I know leaned over and said, that guy has always intrigued me. And I'm like, I know him. I was like all bragging. I'm like, he's my friend. Like, all they have to do, they could walk up and simply ask any question. And the only reason why I'll be taken aback is the logic and reasoning behind why you're asking. Yeah. So if somebody says, what's that on your forehead? Yeah. I've seen you with yeah, it's called kumkum. Yep, I've seen you with that. K-U-M. Yeah. I know it's kind of a funny word. Kumkum, K-U-M, K-U-M. Okay. And so it is it looks like ash. Well, there are certain sects of Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma, which Hinduism is not a religion, it's a spirituality. Yeah. So Sanatana Dharma would be more of the religious approach to it, more of the Gnostic approach to it, and Tantra would be too. Okay. But in a lot of these sects believe in marking your forehead with a symbol. Yeah. So they have qualities to them. So like turmeric powder, for example. you're putting turmeric powder in your skin. That's not going to be bad for your skin at all.
No, that would be great for your
That's-
skin.
So if you're putting sandalwood and turmeric powder on your forehead, you can even, because in India it's hot, got a lot of sun.
Yeah.
Well, they need sunblock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Well, or they'll use dung
Yeah.
or ash, and it just depends really on your region and what sector you're a part of. Well, I was using kumkum in a way of correlating it to what I believe. So, I mean, mine usually looked like a flame, or I mean, it was straight up, but it's blood red.
Yeah.
And you can see it.
Yeah. I remember seeing you with that, and and it's funny because it's like, I didn't know what it was, but it just made sense to me.
Well, spirituality and religion aside, and you know this, and it's more for audience, of course, and any record of anybody viewing anything religious or spiritual.
Yeah.
When you do something different, especially with your appearance, and you go out, you're kind of breaking a mold.
Yeah.
So when I don't see anybody around, let's say everybody was wearing kumkum, I wouldn't wear it.
Yeah. Yep. I know that about you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's say everybody was dressed like this, I would be the Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan.
Yeah.
And I've done it. There's pictures out there of me. I look like and it's not that I have a crisis or anything like that. I'm adapting exactly how you adapt. But the problem is, and not you, just most humans.
You in general.
Yeah, you in a general sense.
Yeah.
You've just adapted over time and have just accepted this thing and not actually thought about it.
So the non-conformity of, it's very punk rock of you. Which, if anyone who knows me, I've gotten older and, but I love non-conformists. I think there's conformity in non-conforming.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with circular logic too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, some people can find that to be an issue because they're trying to make sense of science.
Yeah.
But I can get to a point to where they don't have an answer and then they fall into belief.
Faith. Yeah. Yeah.
Faith,
belief. Yeah.
They fall into, well, I'm going to ascribe to someone smarter or higher than me in order to gain my knowledge. They go, oh, you don't have to do that or practice that because that's already been done and you can see the outcome.
Yeah.
Well, for the same people who feel the drive to go buy a candy bar, or the same person who feels the drive to go to church or eat a burrito or choose whatever you choose to murder someone.
Yeah.
Whatever actual conscious choice that you're making, that's going to show me your motion. And so, like, I deal a lot with vibrations and motions.
Yeah, and I want to talk
like
about that too. Is that also part of this new religion you want to start? And do you have a name for it? Do you have an idea?
I don't. Right now, it's just. I'm just going to call them fantasies.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of course I have a view of how I would like to see things. You have a view of how you want to cook dinner.
Yeah.
You expand out from that. You have a view of how your home wants to look. You have a view of how your neighborhood wants to look. You have a view of how you want your state, country.
Yeah. It goes out.
Universe.
Yeah.
You see how far you start getting?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get semantic then.
Mm-hmm.
So you go all the way out. Keep going. Just keep going. We've got new telescopes that are telling us that we're finding some of the oldest light in existence.
Yeah.
And people go, well, God, that's not God. God is all knowing, not my God. My God's thoughtless completely. Because if you know everything, usually things are a reflex. So like a boxer, for example, a boxer has muscle memory because they've done this thousands of times. And they've done it in such a correct fashion that they're surgical with what they do.
Yeah.
The same thing, surgical. The same thing with the doctor, even a priest. A priest has studied the theology, etymology. They've studied the religious practice of every facet of their religion. The Catholic faiths even went and there is a necromantic tomes, for crying out loud, in the Medici library.
Yeah, I know,
and that's Catholic.
Yep.
Well, you're pulling from every concept and idea, and I'm seeing the pervading theme.
Is that where you get?
It's not even like a religion to me.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah. Well, and you were talking about appropriation earlier.
Yeah.
And
it's all of it's
all of it is appropriated
because it all comes from a
source.
It has to come from a source of singularity.
There's a seed, And like you just did it with, you start here and it goes, well,
Yeah.
the seed of whatever that existence started as,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, we have been copying it
Yeah.
and adjusting it and tweaking it. I think when people talk about appropriation, they need to maybe say, when they say, you know, that's, you know, your cultural appropriation, whatever, I think there needs to be an idea that you're not doing it just to be a fucking dick.
And
you're
see-
doing it because you're honoring
Yes.
and you're learning and you're evolving.
And that comes in the eye of the beholder. Because like,
Mhm.
if I'm doing something because I truly feel that it's within my power to do so and that I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
You could jump to an extreme and go, oh, well, would you just shoot a person? Well, no, that's not my motion to do.
Yeah.
They go, well, where does your morality come from? Does it come from God? Concede, you win. Now, where's your conversation go that I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing? You're not going to.
So can you tell me more about when you talk about your emotion? You're like, yeah, please explain.
I'm such a, I am.
Can we just real quick clink and drink to the fact that this conversation.
I don't drink alcohol unless I'm summoning spirits.
Yes.
Sorry.
Clink and drink. Oh, and I got to do the banner. Clink and drink. Where's the clink and drink? There it is. See, look at the fancy.
Oh,
shit.
I
I know you're like, I could hook you up with this and I'm all clink and drink.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun.
So yes, in motion. You've
Yeah.
mentioned that a couple times. Can you explain that? That's how you live your life.
Yes.
Okay, explain that.
I got tired of questioning my sanity when I felt emotional over something.
Okay.
Because someone can seem emotionless, but it's because of whatever face or mask or, you know, whatever they're trying to perpetuate. That including a person who's overly emotional, which I've been that person. I've practiced as a person with no emotion, and I practiced as a person with too much emotion.
Okay.
And that has led me to a point where I can benefit from both whenever I want to.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a person does, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm cognizant of that idea so that I can take it further.
Okay.
So since I'm cognizant that I know that they're doing it, it's not like a one-up. It's just a gain.
Okay.
When I don't understand, and we're just going to keep digressing back, I don't understand humanity. I couldn't read until I was 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that tells you kind of, and I'm, again, 33. I've not been reading for very long.
Yeah.
So we weren't taught how to read books. We were taught how to read leather.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah.
A lot of us were. So it and I'm sorry if my stuff comes off as allegory. That's the only way that I can explain things like that.
No. And there's no apologies needed on Witches and Wine. Trust me, if that was the case, I'd be apologizing all the time for saying some of the stuff I say with the wine. So yeah, please.
But what I'm doing now is just I'm growing.
Mm-hmm.
So like even from this conversation, I've already learned things because all I'm doing is, to my understanding, is just saying what I feel is true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm coming to points now where I'm talking to you about it and on the internet about it.
Yeah.
I'm not just writing it in a book.
Yeah.
And I feel
that's evolving.
And this to me is just another experience that's going to lead me to my next experience.
So you are very much, okay, so you have children.
Yes.
Okay. So here's where I'm going with this. You've seemed very much in the moment.
Yeah.
And I try to live that way too, as much as I can. I try to remind people that we are in a moment that is fascinating and amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to do that with children?
Yeah.
Raising children.
Yes.
Have them be in the moment. We've raised our children to be in the moment.
They're going to observe that you're in the moment.
Yeah.
And that your children, they wouldn't know how to walk unless you were up and walking around.
Yeah.
If you were just like sitting all the time,
yeah,
and tried to get the baby to walk, it would get the motion. But until you get up and walk and actually show it, well, they've already seen that how dad is.
Well, the reason why I ask about kids is because we always also have to. Well, no, we don't have to. I'll reword. We choose to, I guess, as parents, there is a concern about, sometimes it's hard to be in the moment with children. Does that make sense? Like, because you have to plan things.
I understand.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to go, like, and I'm not even talking about religious, spiritual. I'm just talking about if you want a date night, you got to find a babysitter. If you want to go and party your ass off and take a bunch of hallucinogenics, you got to be sure that the kids are okay to be left home at an age for a weekend, because we may not want to be recovering from an acid trip in front of them. Sure. I bring this up because this has happened.
It's okay.
Yeah, no. So there is being in the moment, but there's also the idea of responsibility.
Yeah, and responsibility. Like, okay, so I'm going to explain, because again, semanticism.
Yeah,
I live there. so I do, and it makes me feel like a moron. I don't care. I'm okay being.
I don't think people who meet you would ever use the word moron.
I'm really self-critical, and
you are very self-critical. We compliment him, and he's like, oh, it's just I'm
very abusive on my mind.
Yeah, we're gonna strengthen that
with children. So the moment.
Yes.
Well, so you can perceive the moment in hours.
Mm-hmm.
You can perceive the moment in days. You can perceive the moment in months and years. Well, if you notice, if you're perceiving the moment further out from where you are, you're now in the future, and that's no longer momentary.
Yeah, but when does that start? Oh, we're gonna get like.
So I'm gonna say when it starts. It starts right now.
The moment.
The future.
All of it is that. All of it is the moment.
There is no future because it's now already.
Yeah, you're. Oh my god.
So like, okay, so when your kids are watching you, you automatically know that, again, getting up and walking is a futuristic activity.
Yeah.
To get to, or you swat the child's hand because I brought all those things up.
Yeah.
Well, when you program, we'll move to that too.
Yes.
When you program somebody in a certain way, like I said, that you if you're not programmed to read early enough, and you only understand certain ways, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I couldn't read until I was 13, but I started playing card games when I was 9.
Okay.
Now, not Go Fish. I played that.
Yeah, but
I mean, like Magic the Gathering. Pokemon,
yeah.
Like that. I could not read.
Okay. So
I'm going to correlate a few things, and this is what kind of builds a person, and it's strange because I don't think people think about it like this. I've been playing card games for 23 years because I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And I mean, give me a little hiatus, but yeah, I've been playing card games for a long time. Well, I would memorize what everybody did, and I'd memorize all the pictures, and then I'd memorize how they reacted.
Oh my gosh!
And I knew that was a good card.
Wow.
Well, I think a lot of us do that. We just don't
realize
take it apart like that.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I take it apart like that is because when you're in an abusive household, when you do a little thing and then you learn leather, and I'm using fancy words to say getting hit with a belt.
Yeah.
And it's not very nice. If any of you hit your kids with a belt, don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna fuck them up.
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna end up in a basement of one of my favorite boutiques with a bunch of people, and you're not gonna be. I mean, you might be proud, but not from your actions. So don't do that. Anyway, when you correlate the idea of having to learn fast because you're gonna get hit, to the idea of memory, well, you've created it. And I'm not saying I'm this guy. Jeez, I've been deprecating myself all night, but. Take Michael Jackson, for instance. That was a very abused person growing up.
Yeah.
But you end up, the more you go through the muscle memory training, like I was talking about before, the more because there's even people who will program themselves by flogging themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They'll look at an image and they'll flog themselves, and it'll get burned into their mind. And that image has correlating ideas to them that they have memorized, and it's hammering it into their skull.
Yeah.
So if you think about the idea of me having to memorize those cards, was because I got my ass kicked a lot for even what my siblings did. I'm one of 10 siblings.
Oh my God.
So it's, you really just, you start to develop a pattern.
It's a survival though, isn't it?
I basically took the programming of survival and used it for other means.
Yeah.
Which I think is what everybody does, but they don't do it to that degree.
Exactly. So a lot of us, I mean, and a lot of the pagan community that watches and that I deal with, there's a lot of abuse and a lot of those stories. And so I'm so glad you're sharing that, because to me, we have to see what this does to people and what comes out of it, and that it's not, I mean, you came out of it with this mind that is so like a sponge?
It's torturous.
What's torturous?
Having a mind like a sponge.
You think it's torturous?
It is. It's torturous. It feels like I don't get the choice to forget. So imagine you can be with a friend and they can say a very slight thing, and a normal person isn't going to go that far, and they get to keep their friend for 20, 30 years. I see it, and then I see what it's going to do in the future, and I see how it's going to expand, and I cut it off.
Got it.
So I don't have a lot of friends at all.
Yes, I
Now, do you prevent yourself from allowing the person to grow and change by doing that?
No, they're allowed to. Absolutely, that's not my choice. And if they
No, I'm saying, but in their interactions with you, by you cutting them off so quickly, you don't get to see that growth.
It depends. It depends on how close they are to me, because I tend to let people really, really close.
Okay.
But you don't. You outside. You were saying you don't have a lot of friends.
I don't.
Has that always been like that?
No.
Really?
I've
Okay.
been hurt a lot.
You what?
Like, hurt a lot by,
Okay.
by like friends.
Oh, look at all the
I
comments.
just kind of, yeah.
I've been engaging. So.
Oh, nice. We got so many. And if anyone wants to ask a question or whatever,
I will take any.
yeah,
question
he'll
or
take any questions.
any question or criticism.
I don't think we get a good crowd. We get people that get it. Like,
Yeah, no, but I understand what you're saying. I like that.
Yeah.
That is something I'm going to watch out for in the future. Thank you.
Yeah,
he brought up some. That's my
Yeah,
husband's
I
so
didn't
smart.
think about it like that. And,
Yeah.
but no, I think that because I don't have many friends, and I said I'm an emotional person. So when I find that God in you,
Mhm.
you know, and I start to have those emotional feelings of like abandonment, those emotional feelings of abuse,
Mhm.
those things are going to enter a person.
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to that. And I'm not a victim of it either.
Mhm.
I'm trying to solve the problem.
Got it.
So if now I'm actually just gonna go with that. Normally when people, I let them really close, and then that sort of thing happens. It has to be an offense though, like an actual offense.
Yeah.
I just expect them to, and I have expectations.
Yeah.
That's what screws things up a lot. And I understand if like I've gotten emotional in the past or anything like that. I understand, and I'm glad that I actually took that journey, no matter how many people I took with me with it.
Yeah. Are you someone who believes in balance?
No.
I was hoping you would say that. Seriously, because I was like, I of our conversations.
I know people are going to be like, but you said that you would rebel. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So can you explain why you don't believe in balance, or what? Or I guess is that
because I said I can believe in the reciprocal nature of something being circular.
Yes.
I'm okay with you not having the logic, the faculties, or the scientific definition to have belief. That's okay.
That's okay.
I'll love.
But what about?
I have a wonderful question that was just posed.
Yeah.
Is it okay to cut someone off before they change if the behavior is affecting you and your health?
Yes, and that's actually, we were going to come to that.
Yeah.
So yes, you have to, because without you wouldn't have a friendship.
Look at that. Is it okay?
Is it okay to cut someone off before they change if the behavior? You have to.
Yeah.
If you show them that they've made an offense, because what we're talking about right now is however you're interpreting the correlation of what you're saying, I'm trying to step into you a bit. So with how you're posing that, I would say yes, because you can't have a friendship without two people involved.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, you can think you're someone's friend, but if you don't talk to them or anything like that, that's your ideal of what a friend is. I think if your health's affected, just like if you're not, the adage, if you're not healthy for yourself, you can't be healthy for anyone else.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I haven't started groups.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I haven't gone out and tried to seek doing that yet. And I said yet because I'm not a stranger to it. It's fine. I want a family.
Yeah.
So, but in that family, there can't be sickness.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're talking about right now, I completely agree with.
Yeah.
If it's going to affect their health, well, they're also making choices in this relativity that's forcing your position. If you're okay, because there's some people who are okay with being hurt. There's some people who actually crave being hurt. There's some people who like being hurt.
Mm.
And this is a fact of reality. There's some people who flog themselves or get flogged by others.
Well, and there's some people that are addicted to chaos and
Yes.
are addicted to drama and are addicted to that. And I have friends that are like that, and I've called them out on it, but I don't call them out like, you motherfucker. You know, it's more like, but if you accept that you are addicted or that you don't know what to do with yourself without that, if you accept it and you admit it, you can just go on with your life. It's easier to just be more self-aware.
See, and that's where I differ, because I don't just go on. The fight, you can go, oh, you're weak. I don't care about those ideals. Those are human civilization, societal, stupid ideals. Oh, you're not strong. Yes, I am. It's just what your definition of that ambiguous word is.
So this brings me to my next thing. Oh my God, I fucking love this guy. All right. Thank you, Crystal, for the question. And again, you guys, please ask more questions, not only because we find it interesting, but then I can highlight your question because I'm learning this really cool platform.
I like that right there.
Which
I love
one?
the idea of blending two different traditions into a single system. What I'm doing is actually taking the best parts of everything that I can get my hands on that's within my vein. And the reason why I say in my vein, I'm going to correlate this back to sports and cards and all that stuff. When you grow a muscle memory for one thing and you find something that you can correlate it to, normally it's easier to transition over to it. That's why Michael Jordan, being who he was, was able to play baseball. That's why you have, and he's a basketball player. That's why you have people who are able to adapt to certain strategies and just move into different positions when they want to, because they have all of these different ideals to pull back from. Well, what I've noticed, I can't even count on everybody's hands in this house how many religions that I've studied, and how much it's stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
I'll use Christianity because I know that a lot of us were hurt by Christianity. I'm just gonna say that out loud. I have no problem asserting that idea.
Yeah, it's
the humans that hurt you.
Yeah.
In Christianity, not Christianity, because you can read a Bible right now and you're going to draw a conclusion that's way different than what the preacher tells you.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then Jesus was the biggest anarchist rebel that went against every norm. He went against what they said God is.
Yeah.
And he was literally the first atheist in his time to be recognized.
Yeah.
And you're talking to, I would say that my thought process is very Luciferian. It's very Hindu, Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now that the manifestation of Jesus, even if it's not a real person, even if it's a put together amalgamation of a bunch of different attributes, of a bunch of different actions and reactions, even if it's that, then it was created into a symbol like Kali, into a symbol like Kronos, into these symbols that you can point at, into any celebrity symbol that you can look at. They have all sorts of traits that make them into what they are. So if that's the case, then me being an adult reading the Bible tells me that is the rebel.
Yeah.
And that
absolutely.
He had to manifest, and they say, oh, well, he's not the son of God. Well, he manifests himself into the flesh to our understanding and nailed himself to a tree.
Yeah, right.
We couldn't understand. And
exactly.
neither could he, because he was in human flesh.
Yeah.
The only way that we could understand was through a barbaric act. So, and I'm not, I said this earlier, I guess I'm a good Christian.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a Christian person.
Yeah.
So if I can assert that idea from your book, and I just said that I would prefer an enlightening doctrine to yours, and I can agree that in this relativity, his daddy, or whatever you say, is God. If I can come to that point, again, in this relativity.
Yeah.
Because there's other relativities.
Yeah.
By the same science that people want to purport to me, I'm going to use it for religion.
There you go.
So you want to purport and say that anything that I think of in a multi-universal theory and any sort of quantum theory is going to exist?
Yeah.
Fine. You have now put me in positions of godhood in multiple different places. Good job.
So I have a question for you, Rooster.
Yeah.
If you were a tarot card, which one would you be?
Can
That's my question.
Can I answer that how I want to?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'd be all of them. And the box.
And the box.
And the table it's sitting on. I'd be all of them.
Okay.
Seriously. I can't even, I'm not even, and I know tarot. And I'm not even going to pick one out. Let's say if I had one that I think I'm shooting for, it's the death card. So, and I'm fine with that.
I'm the devil. No, and we talked about we talked about our versions of the devil and Satan and Lucifer, and when we first met Rooster, you were a very hardcore Satanist.
Yes.
And which I know some people out there that back away from that stuff, but if you've watched our show before, I have been very good friends with Satanists. I have attended satanic rituals. And when you really just boil it all down, it is the satanic panic of the 80s, which I also loved too, because I was alive during that time and it was hilarious. But yeah, you were talking about, you said something outside that was really interesting. You said Satan or Lucifer is
yes, okay.
yeah.
So I was saying that most religions are just amalgamations of other characteristics of just other observations, right? So, and that goes for, again, the Christian Bible. I'm sorry if I'm converting anyone to Christianity, but it's the most complete...
I don't think that has ever been uttered on this show. I'm sorry if I'm converting people to Christianity.
And so, if you think like the Christianity, the Bible is like the Lakers of religion.
Yeah,
they absorb every good player until it's the ultimate evolution of the thing. That's why they call it the living word.
Yeah,
is because it's literally growing and living, and it adjusts to people.
Yeah,
they have one of the best modes of connecting people ever.
Yeah,
and if you deny that, then you would be also denying the most satanic or most Wicca or most whatever sort of ideal that you can think of. You'd be denying that flat out.
Yep.
So for me, when I interpret most religions that have a devil or a hell or things like that, usually the devil is actually a title. So when you look at the Christian Bible, you have Jesus, which was in the desert talking to the devil or a Satan.
Yeah.
Well, Saturnalia is when everybody was able to shed their caste and they were able to have a festival in order to intermingle.
Yep.
And they would wear masks, and they were
all kind of equal.
Yes. From the lowest peasant to the highest king.
Yeah.
You were all able to drink, eat whatever you wanted,
and fuck
whoever you wanted, be with
fuck.
whoever you wanted, and you could be a pauper and be with the queen that night.
Yeah. We need to bring that back.
So think about what that does to a psyche. Think about what that does to a person. You're able to unlock. They're locked up in that.
Yeah.
And you're able to just break away.
The purge.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, that actually leads me to something that we were going to talk about. You have something that you want to do as an event where everyone becomes equal.
Okay. So I'm going to explain the titles real fast, and then we can...
Let Me Swallow. And that's going to be said at his event, too. Yeah. That's what we're going to call his event, Let Me Swallow. No, before we go down to that, because we... And oh, honey, the wine.
I know. Don't pour too much in sediment.
Ah, I won't drink it all.
Okay,
all.
That as an older bottle.
Is that all sediment?
At the bottom will be the last.
Okay, that's fine.
Chewy.
So we were talking about what your definition of, because we were
so the three Satans basically of what people think are the thing. So Lucifer is an entity that predates the Bible completely. It's a solar deity. You would almost be worshiping the sun, because the sun is what brings illumination for you to see. I don't care that I'm revealing secrets. Those are secrets that some covens would they would kill me for. So and that's
in what traditions?
Very satanic, deep traditions.
Okay, but do they do realize that that's all on the internet?
You can come to me.
I mean,
I'm gonna.
we have secrets in our coven, but
my
when
coven
it comes
is all covens.
But when it comes down to it, you can look online and look at the secrets.
There's a PDF that will tell you all of it.
There's a PDF out there that will tell you it all. So yeah.
Yep. So Lucifer is a solar deity. So if you're able to shed light on something and gain understanding, that's where you're going to get your Luciferian concepts from.
Yeah,
that's the.
And I know Luciferian witches.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I love Luciferian witches. Mm-hmm. I think in a past life I was a Luciferian witch. I really do, you guys. I do. I was.
I'm going to give a contrast between some books for a second. So you've got, for example, Michael Ford. a lot of people know Michael Flynn's work. He's a purveyor of satanic and Luciferian knowledge. He's more of a satanic and Luciferian historian, if anything, because he will go with whatever system he's learning verbatim, and either he correlates it over to a Luciferian ideal or he practices it flat out.
Yeah.
So that's, again, just a museum historian, though.
Yeah.
Where you go over to Mark Allen Smith's work. Mark Allen Smith has a Hecatean cult in Spain.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
So
I know about this.
So I just said that there's satanic covens that do kill people. They do, and you could look it up. They do. I've
read about this.
There's also covens that are Luciferian that practice Hecatean cultic practices. And
I don't mean to interrupt, but I was very
of course not.
I was reading this amazing book by Sarita de Este, which we've had on this show, and it was a collection of people's experiences with Hecate, and there's a lot of Luciferian witches and Luciferian practitioners who combine Hecate, and so that might be why I'm drawn to it.
Yeah, Hecate is
because I love her.
In a lot of Luciferian
She's
practice,
my woman.
Hecate is actually the mother of Lucifer.
Yes, I've read that.
Hecatean practices.
I've read that. And there's also a relationship between, and people are like, I don't believe you, and I can't fucking find it, but I found it somewhere, and I've been looking, that Lilith and Hecate are related in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some religions that believe that. I'm not going to say the name of these groups because it's not that it's not real or I don't know them. It's I don't want to lead you in a direction that you're not prepared for.
Yeah, I get it.
Even though if you wanted to do that,
you could tell me in private.
I will. If the audience, if you wanted to do that, go ahead. No one can stop you. I'm just not going to be the one to spit it in your mouth.
Yeah, got it.
So
you could spit in my mouth anytime.
Come get her.
So we had a great.
He's used to it.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, he's like, oh, this.
So Crystal gave us. I kind of see the devil, Lucifer, Satan as how Hades was seen, an entity of justice, a judge.
Yes. So I'm gonna and. Just to, again, give a little bit more of my ethos. Do you know anything about the Myers-Briggs?
Yes.
I was classified as an INFJ.
Okay.
Which, if you go on the internet and look at what an INFJ is, it's a very, it's a very judgmental, very, again, breaking off relationships really hard, really fast, very emotional. And again, they're only 1.2% of human beings. And when I had that, it was very interesting because a lot of things started to make sense a bit.
Yeah.
But again, just with the life that I had led, it didn't really jive with me.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of find my own way. For the Satan, Lucifer, and devil, the devil ends up being a title. So devil is like a king or like a queen. Mm-hmm. So Satan is an energy, like the energy that you feel of doing whatever you want. That is Satan.
Yeah.
So when you talk about Satan, Saturnian energy, Saturnalia, you are breaking the chains and the bonds of reality and doing what you want.
Yeah.
That's really scary. So
we talked about
I have Satan in me.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that means that Satan's more of an energy or more of a feeling. Where Lucifer is an actual solar being that you can go to teach you things and gain enlightenment from. You can end up feeling like a Satan because of what you learn.
Yeah,
and then you can end up gaining the title of a devil because of what you do.
And enlightenment, which I find so interesting, that Lucifer is the morning star. He is the god of enlightenment. People don't want us. There's a history of people not wanting us to be enlightened because we will know too much. But I want to. We have a few minutes. So I don't know. Do you want to talk about real quick? I know.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about this?
Do we want to save it for the next time we have you on?
I can talk about it real fast.
Okay. What are we talking about? The eyes wide shut.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So really quick. Okay. Let me explain this. Okay. So I go to Atomic Threads workshop or boutique, and the lady that runs it, Tina, she's a good friend of mine. I'm in their burlesque troupe, yada, yada, yada. she had come to me, and I didn't know it was you until you told me you talked to her and said, I met the most interesting person. And he had come up to me at one of the movie nights,
Yes.
I think it was, and had these ideas and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh. And then you told me, which we're going to talk about next. And then I went, oh my God. Yeah. So please tell us about this ritual and just tell us about what you want to do.
So I was talking about experiences earlier.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of experiences that I've had and a lot of ones that I don't necessarily want to have. But in order to gain some sort of enlightenment, you have to break yourself of the things that you feel shy of or the things that you don't. Let's say that you give yourself control over just for one day, you give yourself control over the thing that's in your heart that you fear or something that's breaking your mold. Imagine if you're able one day to just make the decision to just take action to do something about it. When you have access to a spot where people are willing to participate in the same idea, it's a wonderful thing, right?
Yeah.
You go to bars, you go to whatever. Well, this one is sexual in nature.
Yeah.
I will not be having sex in this thing. I will be an overseer over couples, people who are consenting couples together in an area while I am doing chants, if you will, over a loudspeaker. And it's going to be, because I'm a singer, so it's going to be very vibratory.
Yeah.
It's going to be very channeled.
Isn't that very Hinduish too? The breath,
mantra.
Yeah. Got it.
It's a part of my moving motion, and it's
the tantra of it all.
Yeah, it's tantra. Yeah. I want to be the person who creates this thing, because I would then, and I'm even just revealing the secret. I don't care.
Yeah,
because it's an experience. I said this earlier. You can't be a male doctor and explain what a vagina feels like. You can explain it to me.
Yeah.
But you don't know what it feels like.
Yeah.
You could explain to me what something tastes like, but until I taste it.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to stay a good Christian boy during this thing. And in my motion, I'm going to have people doing what they do. So if anyone's interested in that,
well, and then
I'm probably going to make we'll just call it the truth.
And you brought up it kind of a Eyes Wide Shut. If anyone's ever seen that movie,
Masks.
Masks.
Well, it's an area where everyone is equal, because if everyone's behind a mask, you don't know who that person is behind there.
And I've already talked to Tina about the space and everything. This is gonna.
So I've written a large portion of it down, but of course it's still up for a bit of interpretation. I'm on no timeline but my own. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no rush, because it's going to be beautiful and perfect when it happens.
It's building now, because now is the future as far as I'm concerned.
There we go. So, yeah.
Miracle asked us when you were talking earlier, we're about a 10-second delay live.
Yeah.
She asked like a sound bath when we were talking about all the experiences.
Yes.
And everything coming out. She asked like a sound bath. So
that is what it is supposed to pervade your being.
Yeah.
It's supposed to enter you, because you're a vibration. Everything's a vibration. So if I am doing what I'm doing and literally enacting a change in reality, have I or have I not done the definition of magic, of changing reality to my will? You're copulating to my will.
Yes. Hello.
And I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah.
I have no problem with admitting, and there's no secret in that. I shall speak the truth or remain silent.
Yeah.
That is literally what it's for.
Yeah.
So if you want to join, if you have a partner and you're not worried about being around other people, I would suggest
we could
being a part of my experience with me.
Oh, sign us up. That's, oh my God. So we are, right? We have to, we watch.
We told you.
There's so much more.
There's so much more. Yeah, but we try to do it at the hour. So, oh my God, Rooster, thank you so.
I'm gonna just start a YouTube channel. It's gonna be called The Truth.
Yeah.
And then I'll have like a Twitter or something. I'll have them all made by tonight. So,
yeah. Well,
will you really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get it over to us. We'll get it on here.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys, and you've been amazing. So, if anyone wants to be, I'm gonna put our stuff. This is brand new. I'm gonna do this, And I'm gonna do
See, it's
this.
dynamic. I made it up right now.
I know.
See, that's the way it works, and then it's gonna
Real
be
time.
It's literally going to exist.
See, you
That's how it
manifest.
moves.
So you'll see on the bottom there our PayPal. Our coven loves doing what we do. This is something that Goddess has called us to do, and we are a 501c3. I've had wine. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so you can PayPal us. You can see that on the bottom. We take donations. It is not required, but it does help us do these things. And also, if you are interested in our coven and you want to be maybe a guest on our show, you have some ideas, you're like, hey, why do you do what you do? What's wrong with you people? You can always email us at crossroadscoven@gmail.com. I'm sorry, honey, what was that again?
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
That's right. So everyone, thank you so much, Rooster. This we're gonna have you back.
Thank you.
We have to have you back. This was amazing. Thank you everyone for watching, and always remember, walk with the goddess and be so kind to one another. And until next time, blessed be. We love you all. Have a great day. Bye.